So over the last several years, we've run 500 CEO forums with a single exam question, which is this: as a leader, how do I navigate my organization in a world of turbulence? And we've taken all those meetings and tried to summarize them into 5 simple messages. Now, another part of the forum is we've been blessed with a group of CEO founders and board members who volunteered to be interviewed as a way to help their fellow CEOs. So today, as I talk to you about these 5 messages, I'll also bring in their voices. So the first of our messages is about the CEO as the chief strategist of the organization. And their job, first and foremost, is to cut through the noise. And as they do this, they have to answer 3 questions incredibly clearly. The first is, where am I taking my organization? And when we arrive, are we winning? How do I fund that journey? Because it's going to be expensive. And how do I choreograph it? And in doing this, one piece of advice that our CEOs keep coming back to is this: we need to fall back in love with our customers and our products. Let that be our North Star as we answer these questions. So enough from me. Let's start hearing these voices. So here's Ruth of Octopus Money.
So it's really the fundamental point is starting customer need rather than growth first, rather than how do I monetize this customer as deeply as I can? How do I actually serve all of the needs that this customer has with a consistent set of values and propositions that feel coherent, whether they operate under different sub-brands or not?
And here's Carrie from Cold Technology Services.
You're going to have to find ways to differentiate. So how do you make the customer want to come to you rather than someone else? I call it the easy button. When you're looking at global connectivity, digital infrastructure, digital service solutions, they can become very complex. So if we can create the easy button for our customers to connect, all of their businesses into all of their customers around the world, then fantastic. That's who we want to be. We want to be the easy button for global connectivity.
And finally, here's Aaron from Pizza Hut.
So it was a rallying cry, not only inside of my team, but a rallying cry within our franchisees to get back to who we are. We are the iconic pizza brand. To me, there's a lot to fall back in love with. So it's a yes, fall in love with it, and innovate and push.
The second message is about the role of the CEO in thinking about the organization. First, they have got to syndicate the job of growth. If they find they're the only one losing sleep about the P&L, the only one losing sleep about the growth rate, that company will never succeed, will never scale. The job of the CEO is to create entrepreneurs more obsessed with the growth challenges of the company than the CEO. And here's Vivek of Albertsons Companies describing how he empowers the organization.
We want to be locally great and nationally strong. And so our challenge is always, how do you maintain that entrepreneurial spirit at the front line and in a store and bring to them the scale that we can bring? And my job is to find a way to keep that balance. It's a combination of loose tight, a lot of autonomy to the front line with guidance from the center, but not mandates from the center.
So after they syndicated growth, CEOs also need to begin to divide the motions of the organization between when they're in delivery mode, and delivery mode is when your customers most benefit by flawless execution of known routines, and when I'm in development mode, which is where our customers most benefit by our testing and learning our way to new solutions. And as CEOs talked about this, we said these are 2 radically different ways of working with the company, and my job as a CEO is radically different between the 2. And as we discussed this with Kalyan from Flipkart, he uses slightly different language to get at these 2 modes of operation. He talks about calm. When you're in delivery mode, the focus is process execution, joyful routines, and crisis when we're in development mode, when we're testing and learning our way to new solutions, turning around an individual business, scaling a new solution. And he describes what it takes to create a dynamic organization that can go from one mode to the other.
We think in this industry, we have to go through a turnaround every 4 to 5 years. And the way it happens internally is that at least 1 out of 3 teams in the company at any point of time is going through a turnaround. It could be for opportunities, or it could be to handle a crisis. And then there is 2 out of 3 teams who actually are more in business as usual execution, process setting mode. So this is the way the company operates, and we make sure that we are live, we are current, we are operating in a dynamic environment.
So the third message isn't good news for CEOs. Once they begin to understand that there are 2 motions in the company, delivery mode and development mode, CEOs begin to realize that all of their direct reports are in functions that are built for delivery. The finance function, the HR function, the supply chain function, they're all built for delivery. And yet, in a world of turbulence, at least 50% of that job has to be thinking about development. And there are lots of examples of this, the from to in supply chain and finance, etc. But here's Tanya talking about it at Microsoft Brazil.
Microsoft is a large company. We have legacy. We do have several systems and processes that are here and sometimes prevent us to be as agile as we or our customer expect. So we need people adapting the tools. So every single leader responsible for people, we launch 1 product per day, every day in a year. So we are forced to learn new things every day, but we also have to deliver. We are a successful company, but what brought us here is not gonna bring me to the next level. So if you don't adapt, you fail at a certain point. Staying every day out of your comfort zone is necessary.
So within the forums, we've had a lot of fun with CEOs talking about what would each of these functions look like beyond delivery. So let's take HR. Delivery mode is all about providing consistency and predictability for people. Keep them in a lane, make sure they know what to do, have the same boss for multiple years. Development is the exact opposite of that, which is that we want to shift teams around, mobilize and demobilize, have people do new things all the time. And Kerry from Colt gives a great example of this, just reimagining the M&A function and what it would be if you moved beyond delivery.
I think most companies think it's either my culture and my culture only, or it's a marriage of 50-50 between the 2 companies. And I don't think of it that way. I think there's good things that come from the majority company culture. I think there's good things that come from the, acquired company's culture. And I also think you have to create your own heritage as a new company. So I almost think of it in thirds. Some is going to come from the original company, some will come from the acquired company. And most importantly, there's going to be a third of it that's developed with new ideas, new heritage, new processes, and new ways of working within the new company that you've just become.
So as you listen to that, one example, imagine if you did that for every corporate function. So this leads to the 4th message, which is the critical role of technology in everything we do. And for many CEOs, this is a huge mindset shift from where technology was always an enabler of the things we've decided to do, to now technology has to be part of our point of arrival, because our goal is to become faster, develop customer intimacy at scale, and control profit pools and data pools, all of which require technology as a solution. And as CEOs worked on that, a lot of them began to say, but actually, my technology strategy is a talent strategy. The key thing I have to figure out is what kind of people do I need to pull this off? And the phrase that emerged is this idea of bilingual. I need to create bilingual teams that are fluent not only in technology, but in how we compete as an organization. What are our routines? How do we deliver competitive advantage to customers every day? And here's Kalyan from Flipkart.
We believe we are a commerce company heavily enabled by technology. Technology is not the problem or the opportunity of a particular department, a particular leader, a particular problem statement, or a function. In today's world, technology has to be part of the culture of the company. Each and every day, each and every action we do, everything we do has to be technology. How do you find the right balance between data-driven leaders and people who are able to apply intuition along with data? We don't want commoditized managers who just look at data analysis and make decisions. It has to be married with customer intuition. So that's a very big, unique way of evaluating talent at Flipkart.
And now Aaron from Pizza Hut.
But let me share the breakthrough moment for me upon joining Pizza Hut. So I'm 6 months in the job. I took my leadership team and our 10 largest franchisees around the world, and we spent a week in Silicon Valley immersing ourselves in the new digital trends coming out. And that was the moment when I saw the magic, when I saw us together on this journey of how we can reimagine Pizza Hut in this new age. And that was the moment that I knew this thing's going to work. It was becoming bilingual with my largest franchisees and my team.
The fifth message is about energy. And it starts with the simple fact that every organization faces entropy, which is as soon as something leaves the office of the CEO, it begins to lose its energy, begins to move in a complicated way. How do you keep order on the initiatives that you launch? That requires energy. And as we've talked to CEOs about that, one of the things is, what does a self-energizing initiative look like? One way to do that is through vertical motion of the CEO. They get involved with some of these initiatives so they understand what's happening in the front line and can celebrate the heroes. So the CEO job is a battle of energy. And the question is, how do you keep energy in the organization? Part of that in our discussions at the forum has been that you let the organization learn from successes and learn from failures. But that demands a culture that says red is good. We are willing to actually talk about failure in a constructive way. One of the CEOs that talks about this better than anyone I know is Ruth, talking about her stumble of the week.
You spend the first 10 years of your career thinking, mustn't get anything wrong, I'm going to get found out. So we created a ritual called Stumble of the Week. Just getting people starting to feel comfortable with no one's perfect. The more that can become part of the culture with a very real example day in, day out. Once you do that, you learn so much more quickly. You're braver to try more things. You push yourself harder because the consequence of failure is so much less when stumbles are accepted and celebrated. So I said to everyone, it's going to get a bit faster now, and you should feel like a toddler running down hills. You should feel like you're moving slightly quicker than you want to be, but you're giggling, you're enjoying yourself. You might fall over, but you bounce back up again because toddlers do, and that's how it should feel to work here.
So these are the 5 messages. We know they're not final because every day we continue to learn as CEOs share their lessons with other CEOs. If there's one thing to take away from this, it's talk to your peers. We're all making mistakes, and if we can learn from each other, we'll learn a lot faster. Thanks for being part of this, and we'll talk to you soon.